Good evening. Welcome to the Pinole Planning Commission meeting on July 13th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the Pinole City Council chambers at 2131 Pear Street. The public may submit public comment by attending this meeting in person at the City Council chambers, filling out a yellow public comment card and submitting it to the city staff. The public may also submit a live remote comment via Zoom conferencing on the Zoom mobile app or desktop browser. The webinar ID for this Zoom meeting is 865-0537-5301, and the public may also dial in by calling 669-900-6833 or 1-253-215-8782 or 1-346-248-7799. Speakers will be asked to provide their name and city of residence, although providing this is not required for participation. Each speaker will be afforded up to 5 minutes to speak. Speakers will be muted until their opportunity to provide public comment. When the chair opens the comment period for the item that you wish to speak upon, please use the raise hand feature or press star 9 if connecting via telephone, which will alert staff that you have a comment to provide. Then please press star 6 to unmute. To comment with your video enabled, please let city staff know that you would like to have your camera turned on once you are called on to speak. The public may also submit written public comment staff before the meeting via email at dhanham@pinole.gov. Please include your full name, city of residence, and the agenda item that you are commenting on. There are other ways to watch this meeting live on Channel 28 and Channel 1070. Meetings are broadcast again the following week on Channel 1070, previously Channel 26. The Pinole Community TV program schedule is published on the city's website. This meeting is also video live streamed on the city's website at www.pinole.gov/PCTV. Meeting videos remain archived on the site for 5 years. Pinole Community TV can also be streamed live from Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire. Temporary notice, some Comcast subscribers may also be able to see PCTV government media programming on Channel 30 while the city is working out an FCCC must-carry requirement. If none of these options are available to you, or if you need assistance with public comment, please contact the planning manager, David Hannum, at 510-724-8912 or dhannum@pinole.gov. In compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, if you need special assistance to participate in a city meeting, or if you need a copy of the agenda or the agenda packet in an appropriate alternative format, please contact the city clerk's office at 510-724-8928. Notification of at least 48 hours prior to the meeting or time when services are needed will assist city staff in ensuring that reasonable arrangements can be made to provide accessibility to the meeting or service. Staff reports are also available for inspection on the city's website at www.pinole.gov. You may also contact the city clerk via email at hbell@pinole.gov. Citizen participation. Persons wishing to speak on an item listed on the agenda may do so when the chair asks for comments in favor of or in opposition to the item under consideration. After all those persons wishing to speak have done so, the hearing will be closed and the matter will be discussed amongst the commission prior to rendering a decision. Any person may appeal an action of the Planning Commission or of the Planning Manager by filing an appeal with the City Clerk in writing within 10 days of such action. Following a public hearing, the City Council may act to confirm, modify, or reverse the action of the Planning Manager, and the Planning Commission may act to confirm, modify, or reverse the action of the Planning Manager. The cost to appeal a decision is $500, and a minimum $2,500 deposit fee. Please note, if you challenge a decision of the Commission regarding a project in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing or in writing delivered to the City of Pinole at or prior to the public hearing. Ralph M. Brown Act, Government Code, subsection 54950. In enacting this chapter, the legislature finds and declares that the public commissions, boards, and councils and other public agencies in the state exist to aid in the conduct of the people's business. That is the intent of the law that their actions be taken openly and that their deliberations be conducted openly. The people of the state do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies which serve them. The people, in delegating authority, do not give the public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created. And with that, we'll call the meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. All those willing and able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Ohlone people, who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respect to our Ohlone elders, past, present, and future, who call this place Ohlone land, the land that Pinole sits upon, their home. We're proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Ohlone community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. And with that, Planning Manager Hannum, could we please have a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Huey?
Present.
Commissioner Manis?
Present. Noting for the record, I had my usual ex parte communications with email list about this meeting.
Commissioner Lamb-Julian?
Present.
Commissioner Binder?
Present.
Commissioner Martinez?
Present.
Vice Chair Uch?
Present.
Chair Sandoval?
Present.
For the record, share that we have all the commissioners tonight, so we can take action on all items on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next item is citizens to be heard. The public may address the Planning Commission on items that are within its jurisdiction and not otherwise listed on the agenda. Planning Commissioners may discuss the matter brought to their attention, but by state law, the Ralph M. Brown Act action must be deferred to a future meeting. Time allowed is 5 minutes each. Do we have any citizens to be heard?
I do see one hand raised online. It's the caller with the phone number ending in 5748. So caller, when you're ready, please press *6 to unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, my name is Anthony Offspring, longtime resident, taxpayer, Pinole, over 50 years. I don't belong to the 35 plus club, but maybe that may or may not matter in this meeting versus the city council meeting. But I had a few items to present this evening with regard to public health, safety, and quality of life issues in Pinole. Unfortunately, we had another somewhat semi-major incident down at the Bayfront Park area again last Tuesday, when a visiting senior citizen of 70 years old tried to go fishing there by the Bayfront Park wastewater treatment plant / parking lot / creek. And he didn't come home that afternoon or evening, and he has yet to be found. His name is Mr. Tito Montansis, a Filipino Asian American that frequented the area many times. That being the case, this is the second case in about a year and a half, and the last one was another Filipino Hispanic community resident of Pinole and El Sobrante and Hercules. Her and her husband, I think her name was, I forgot her first name, but she and her husband were literally beaten and clubbed to death on the trail there, right off of the twin bridges by the railroad tracks behind the wastewater treatment plant on the bottom of Tennant Avenue. Again, I will ask for the upkeep time to the city council, specifically Mayor Tave and Cameron Sasai and Devin Murphy and the other two city councilwomen who ignored previous comments by the public, to put that on the agenda and to give it serious concern to increase the public's health and safety in that immediate area, specifically the erection of 2 solar light lamp posts in the entryway near the railroad track and the front parking lot, and the other one in the middle of the parking lot that can shine at night, as well as post new signage there to warn public and post the hours. The signages are old, faded, out of date, very small print, and that being the case, you know, I think that should be addressed as a major health issue, like they did when that lady got run over in the crosswalk on Tennant Avenue in front of the bank and St. Joseph's Church they jumped to attention with her and they dropped down $100,000 to put up little safety bumpers that are all in disrepair there now on Plum Street, Pear Street, and Tennant. And that also should be looked at as getting those refurbished. And then secondly, I'd also like to say, to bring up the damages on the Pinole Creek Bridge above Station 74 again, where there was another accident waiting to happen when someone veered off that semi-hairpin turn before the soccer field next to the fire department up there and crashed into someone's front gated picket fencing and destroyed about 90% of their picket fencing that their own insurance had to pay for. And because the city couldn't replace the light bulbs on those two horses over there, sawhorses, the amber light bulb, flashing light bulbs, or clean up all the ivy and weeds growing around the temporary concrete barriers that's been up there for 3 or 4 years now. They need to address that, Where's the governance that we deserve with our taxes to provide safety to the community? And number
You have
3
30 seconds
also,
remaining.
that all the public bathrooms locked doors need to be requeued with the automatic locked doors at the dog park, the Fernandez Park, and the Bayfront Park. They're all out of sync. They lock way too early at night when it's still bright out. And I thank you for your time and consideration in these matters. And under the Brown Act, I think you should direct this to the departments to give us an answer.
Please
And
wrap
we
up your
haven't got
comment.
any answers from any departments.
All right, thank you for your comment. Do we have any other citizens to be heard?
There are no other hands raised at this time.
Okay. And in response to the comment, unfortunately, some of these issues are not under the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. I would still urge you to contact and speak with your representatives on the City Council and Public Works for the Public Works issues.
Yeah, and I might add there, you can always go online to the Public Works Department. There's a Public Works website where you can file your complaints and those types of places, so you can file them there as well.
All right, and then, yes, Commissioner Menace.
Would it be possible, maybe in the future, for a city to consider a new capital improvement project to improve lights and signage at Bayfront Park? I know that the city was recently considering some improvements to that region as part of a few agreements with the railroad company going through that area, some easements and such like.
Sure. I mean, if the council and Public Works want to come up with a project or a project from the public, normally the process would be to address the project. If the project is something that the council and staff can do, then they would cost it out for total cost for improvement and then include in the capital improvement program. But it probably won't be included till next year's capital improvement program, unless there's some serious issues that can be done fairly quickly, fairly inexpensively. But that'd be taken up between the council and Public Works.
Any other comments? All right, and then with that, thank you for the clarification. With that, we will move to our meeting minutes, and we have the Planning Commission meeting minutes for June 8th. Does anyone on the commission have any questions or corrections? Yes, Commissioner Menace.
So one minor typographical thing. On page 11 of the minutes, page 15 of the agenda packet, line number 49, it says that I stated it was just the piping for the treatment plan to the Phillips 66 refinery in Rodeo. I said the treatment plant. There should be a letter T after plan. That's all.
Right, I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes with the corrections from Commissioner Menace.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Planning Manager Hannum, could we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Huey,
Abstain.
Commissioner Menes,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb Julian,
Abstain.
Commissioner Bender,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Abstain.
Vice Chair Uch,
Yes.
Chair Sandoval.
Yes.
Motion carried 403 with 3 abstentions.
Thank you, and the item will pass. And our next item is public hearings. At the beginning of the item, the chair will read the description as stated on the agenda. City staff will then give a brief presentation. Commission will then ask staff questions about the item. For those listed or those items in the public hearing, the chair will open the public hearing and ask the applicant if they would like to make a presentation. Those persons in favor of the project will then be given an opportunity to speak, followed by those who are opposed to the project. The applicant will then be given an opportunity for rebuttal. The public hearing will then be closed and the commission may discuss the item amongst themselves and ask questions of staff. The commission will then vote to approve, deny, or approve in modifying form and continue the item to a later date. The chair will announce the commission's decision and advise the audience of the appeal procedure. Please note, no hearings will begin after 11 p.m. and items still remaining on the agenda after 11 p.m. will be held over to the next meeting. And it looks like we have one item tonight, UP 26-0001, Tranquility Martial Arts. Do we have a presentation on this item?
Yes, we do, Chair. So I'm Justin Shu, I'm Associate Planner. I think we have some slides as well, but while we're getting those up, I could quickly introduce the item. So this is for Tranquility Martial Arts. As you mentioned, this is UP 26-0001. It's a conditional use permit application for a private school or specialty studio type of use at this location. This is located at 1573 Terra Hills Drive, so within the Appian AD Shopping Center. There's a pad building there. If we could go to the next slide, we could kind of point out where that location is. So the Appian AD Shopping Center is at the intersection of Terra Hills Drive and Appian Way approximately. This is one of the buildings that are still active, have commercial uses in them. It's under a separate ownership than the rest of the shopping center. And then there are some existing uses that are still operating today. This is one of the open tenant spaces previously occupied by Her 360 Fitness. It's approximately 2,470 square foot tenant space. The proposed use is a martial arts school. And then, there are existing tenants next to it. The dry cleaners, the Appian AD Express, as well as Boba Birds is to the other side of the proposed use. That's a restaurant. If we could go to the next slide, please. So this, the property is located within the 3-corridor specific plan. So it overlays the existing zoning in the area. Under the specific plan, this is the Appian Way corridor and specifically the service sub area within it. The designation of the property is under the commercial mixed use designation, allowing for a range of commercial uses at that location. The specific plan also establishes that if there is a use that falls under schools, private special studio, it requires a CUP and Planning Commission consideration and approval of that type of use. If we could go to the next slide, please. So the applicant is also here to kind of explain his business, his proposed use at this site, but just briefly, this is a martial arts school. The applicant's description is that he's planning to host these classes, typically composing of no more than 35 people, inclusive of the students, any parents or guardians that might be there, as well as the instructor himself. Classes would be approximately 1 hour each. And the hours of operation are noted below. This is the time range that they were thinking of. They might not use the whole time, like from 12 to 10, but the classes would be within those range of hours. So to start, and under this use permit, the applicant is proposing a range Monday through Thursday from noon to 10, and then Friday to Sunday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And he specifically noted that at the start, there wouldn't be a lot of classes. He's thinking maybe 3 classes Monday and Fridays to start, 2 classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, with possible Wednesday classes and weekends for belt tests and seminars. And the clients are expected to be mostly students, kids and teens. So the proposed use would go within an existing tenant space. If we could go to the next slide, we kind of look inside the space. So as you can see from the slide and also in the packet as well, this is an existing tenant space, and then there isn't going to be any proposed construction at this stage for any like new interior walls or major renovations that would otherwise need a building permit, although the applicant could submit one if needed and if required by the building official. So this use would primarily remain as a fairly open space. From the top, you could see kind of the layout, which is fairly open. The bottom is how the applicant is proposing to use this space, which would remain mostly open with pads along most of the area for the proposed use. And the front of the space would continue to kind of remain like in a reception area, preparation area, area for parents and others waiting. So there isn't a lot of proposed interior improvements that are anticipated to be needed here. If needed, the applicant would, of course, pull the required building permits to do so. If we could go to the next slide, please. So as part of the CUP, we look at potential general plan consistency and specific and zoning consistency. So staff's initial analysis is that the project does seem to be consistent with the general plan and specific plan. The site is located in the service sub-area in the general plan, and it's noted as an area to maintain and increase existing employment opportunities and encourage new housing opportunities while accommodating commercial uses that serve residents through mixed-use development. And of course, this would be a commercial use that fits within this intent for the sub-area. Policies 1.1, 7.1, and 7.2 are noted, and just briefly, those cover land use diversity within the specific plan areas and corridors, in particular ensuring that there's a variety of commercial, industrial goods, services, and employment opportunities that are available. It talks about providing basic goods and services to Pinole residents, and also assuring that there's availability and diversity in residents serving goods and services. So those are kind of the general plan policies that fit within this proposed use. In terms of specific plan and zoning consistency, service sub-area in the ABN Way corridor of the specific plan, and the intent of this area, the service sub-area in the ABN Way corridor, which kind of stretches from the Pinole Vista Shopping Center all the way to almost like the San Pablo Avenue area, is that this area would serve as kind of a regional gateway into Pinole and capitalize on the reputation as a regional shopping center and upgrading existing development and attract increasingly desirable commercial tenants. And specifically for commercial mixed use, this designation is to designate properties and mixed use development and provide for integration of retail and commercial uses with office and or residential. So this would be one of the commercial uses that fit within the intent of the zoning district and the area. This project is also analyzed under CEQA as well, and the project is found categorically exempt. Since it's an existing facility, they're not proposing expansion, and it's occupying a space with little or no proposed expansion to the structure. If we could go to the next slide, please. And then Planning Commission, as you review this conditional use permit proposal, would have to make a number of different findings in order to approve it. Staff has taken a look at it and believes that the project could meet these findings, and of course, Planning Commission would make their determination. So the 4 findings include that the proposed use is consistent with the general plan, any applicable specific plans, and all applicable provisions of this title being the zoning code. And as mentioned previously, the project does appear to be consistent with the general plan and specific plan, including zoning as well. The next finding is that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the use applied for will not, under the circumstances of the case, location, size, design, and operating characteristics, be detrimental to the health, safety, peace, morals, comfort, or general welfare of persons residing or working in the neighborhood of such use, or to the general welfare of the city. And staff believes this project meets that intent as well. The use is located within an existing shopping center that's largely vacant and not anticipated to conflict with nearby uses as conditions. So there are conditions of approval attached to this project as well. This use would occupy an existing tenant space, so there's no anticipated conflicts due to like redevelopment of the space. For finding C, the site of the proposed use is physically suitable for the type, density, and intensity of the use and related structures being proposed. So again, the use is occupying an existing shopping center that's been largely vacated. The project isn't proposing a change to density or intensity of the use on the site, and as conditioned, staff believes that the project would be able to meet this finding. And finally, that it will not be contrary to the specific intent clauses, development regulations, or performance standards established by the zoning district in which it is located. The proposed use and related structures are compatible with other land uses, transportation, and service facilities within the vicinity, and staff believes that the proposal does meet this finding. The use is compatible with the intent of the zoning district and the land uses that would be allowed in it. It does contribute to a variety of commercial uses for this zoning district, and this site could be served by existing transportation in the area, including the parking lot, bike racks that are already at the site, as well as the proximity to bus stops and the walkways that allow access to the site. If we could go to the next slide, please. So with that, staff's recommendation is to adopt Resolution 26-07, approving this use permit, UP 26-0001, for the conditional use permit application, providing for the establishment of Tranquility Martial Arts at 1573 Terra Hills Drive. So that concludes staff's presentation. I'm available for comments, and our applicant is here as well for an introduction later during public comments.
Thank you so much for the presentation. And now we will move on to questions from the commission to staff. And I'll start to my right with Commissioner Bender.
Chair, no questions.
All right, thank you. And then I'll go to my left, Commissioner Martinez.
Thank you, Chair. The question for staff under our CPU, can we put some type of a requirement regarding drop-off and pickup? And it would be specific to the individuals need to park their cars, and this goes under the safety. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reference what's going on at the Pinole Valley Shopping Center, a very similar business we see on a consistent basis where the parents will pull up, block cars. Now the little kids got to kind of look around, and then the other cars are trying to get around. And the shopping centers were never designed for people to park behind cars and then other cars to get around them.
Yep.
They're just not not designed that way at all. So we need to make sure that for these types of businesses that we are requiring the companies to mandate to their members that they do drop the cars off at park and not block parked cars as they're dropping and picking up kids, because it's just too dangerous. And we see it happening every day at Pinole Valley Shopping Center. So we need to make sure to really put some teeth in their staff so that we can restrict or pull back the CPU if we find it's in violation. So if we can put some language in there, I would really appreciate it. That's my only concern. I think this is a great idea. I welcome the business and all the new kids to come into that shopping center, and at least it'll feel a little bit more alive.
Okay.
So if we can just add that, I'd be really grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, we could certainly add a condition if the commission agrees to adding that condition. I know Commissioner Menace has a hand up. I don't know if it's related.
So it seems to me as though condition 7, clear path management, might cover what Commissioner Martinez is asking for. It says the applicant shall ensure that the walkways and parking area adjacent to the tenant space are maintained to avoid obstruction of pedestrian and vehicular circulation related to operations associated with the use, such as congregation of visitors outside the tenant space, preventing access to other establishments. Are there modifications to that condition that Commissioner Martinez would suggest?
Thank you, Commissioner Menace. What I'm looking for is some teeth that we have a way of managing this a little tighter, in that if it becomes a problem and people are reporting it, that we are actually tracking it, and then we can bring the party back in to say, there's a problem here, we need to correct this, or we pull your CUP. Because just saying it, there's not enough language in there that is going to dictate that we are tracking this and we have a way to address it.
If I could, I'll make a recommendation that we can add what we've done with similar conditional use permits. We've added that one condition that basically says that we can review it in a year to see what if we've had any complaints. So it gives the commission It gives the commission a chance, it gives the business owner a chance to let the business flow to see if there are going to be complaints. And then it gives us the ability to bring it back within a year to say, yeah, everything's been fine. We can either continue it for another 3 years or 5 years before they come back, or that at least in the first year so that we can take a look at that. We can add that condition. We don't know what that center is going to do. So, I mean, it's pretty open right now. I mean, I don't think we're going to have that problem. But I think that, yeah, I think we've added that condition in the past on projects, so we could add something like that. Or we can add that language to condition number 7 as part of the, staff will review this within 1 year to make sure that is being maintained. I mean, if that's what the commission wants to do.
Okay. Thank you, Planning Manager Hannum. If we could add that language, the 1 year review, and if we add that at under 7, that would satisfy my concern. Thank you.
Commissioner Lame-Julie?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just, I know that we've had language, I'm looking at number 4, and under conditions of approval regarding the trash. My concern is that there's a middle school close by, and I know they go to Boba quite a bit. So knowing that there's going to be influx of now students taking the classes, they're going to have an increase of traffic. So just, I can't remember what the language was before, but just having regularly, I know not necessarily with this tenant, but just making sure with the property owner that they have more trash cans available, and to make sure that that place, so that we're keeping track of it a little bit more. Just like in Trader Joe's, that it's always congested and the trash cans are always full. They do the best that they can. And then, yeah, I think that is my only concern, because knowing that the middle school is going to be switched to have more students there, to something a little bit more specific like the others. I'm complete. Thank you.
Commissioner Huey?
Thank you, Chair. Can staff please clarify what's included as amplified sounds?
It's pretty broad right now, but speaker systems and music pumped through those systems that would be loud enough to generate issues with nearby tenants.
Is there a decibel limit on that?
Not specifically, and that the applicant might be able to speak to what they're doing later as well. But there's no specific limit. It would be similar to what Commissioner Martinez brought up. If there's an issue, like after 1 year, that could also be brought up as well in terms of what sound is being amplified there, if any, and the commission can consider that at that point as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Menace?
I also have questions about condition 6, but I think they're more for the applicant. No questions for staff at this time.
Vice Chair Uch?
No questions.
And I did not have any questions either. Yes. Commissioner Bender, did you have a?
No questions.
Okay, and with that, we will go into the public hearing if there are no other questions from the commission. All right, and would the applicant like to make a presentation? Please state your name for the record, and you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right, well, my name is Roper Makarag. I'm the head instructor at Tranquility Martial Arts. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to actually open up a school, and I'm finally at a position where I can, so this is great for me. And so to address the concerns that you had prior about safety in terms of people just dropping them off, I'll make sure the parents park. I'll explain to them, look, park or we don't have a school, simple as that. And in terms of the decibels that you had a question about earlier, it's really for if we were gonna do a exhibition or anything like that, it would be we'd have speakers up, but it wouldn't be like full blast or anything like that. I understand we got some residences around, and honestly, it's like it gets too loud for me too. So it won't be anything that would affect neighbors or even boba birds right next to me. Dry cleaners would be closed by the time we're open. So if that was a concern you had, I hope that alleviates some of the issues there. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions, it's really just a martial arts school. We teach Shotokan. I've done martial arts since I was 10. So for the past 30 years, I've been practicing, on and off, especially with family and all that stuff, as you know. I've been teaching for probably the past 20-ish years. And my main style is Shotokan, but I've done other styles as well, trained in Kung Fu, Aikido, also in Pinole, West County Aikido at the time, with Sensei Lou DeSena. I don't know if you guys know. But that's about it.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions from the commission? Yes, Commissioner Bennis.
Yes, so I guess my question is about the amplified sound condition. Because the way that I'm reading it, it seems like a relatively strong condition. It says the applicant shall not include amplified sounds or music in operations without prior approval by the planning manager. So I'm guessing that would be for special events and things like that. You would need to reach out to the planning manager and get approval in advance. But I'm more wondering for like day-to-day courses or whatnot. Are you planning to have music on in the background or just?
Oh, no, day-to-day courses and everything. It's just traditional as dojo. The kids come, practice. I'll yell at them a couple of times when they're not listening. Usual stuff.
All right, and I guess this is maybe a question to staff following up on that. So would that be basically the process they would need to follow for a special event or things like that where they would want amplified sound, reach out to you and they'd get necessary permitting and so on?
Yeah, we would just need an email from them saying, hey, we're going to have an event this weekend. We'll be using amplified sound. And then at that point, they'll, as long as they're within the hours of operation. Now, if there are complaints later on and we're getting those, then we would bring that to the applicant's attention and let him know first, hey, we got some complaints. Either you got to tone it down or not include it. And then depending on how it continues or if it becomes a major issue, then we'd bring it back to the commission for additional modification of the condition.
All right, that's my question cleared up then. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Lim Julian, did you have a question?
Thank you, Chair. Hey there. How many families do you have over at your current location? It's like in that Legends.
Yeah, it's at Legends. We're currently renting out a space at a Legends Dance Studio and Event Center over in Hercules. Currently, right now, we're at 18, including my own family.
Okay.
And then we've also had other students that have come, practiced, and they've moved on to other activities as well. But the intent is for the kids to stay and practice. And as I build up the marketing when we have our space, it should increase more. I honestly plan on limiting how many students per class because I don't want the kids to run out of space when they practice. So it'll probably be limited to 14 active class students. And then there's going to be a portion for open mat where students can practice on their own. And that would be outside of that actual class. So you can see from the floor plan, there's a smaller section portioned out for those students that are they just need the space to practice because nobody probably has that space to practice at home.
You hope not. So right now that you have about 18 families, is that correct?
Correct.
And then you're anticipating the 18 families to move with you to the new location?
Yep, I checked with every single one of them. I always make sure before I make any huge changes that I'm not losing students based on a move. But everybody seems really happy about having our own space, having the mats laid down, and we can practice more techniques.
Okay, no, thank you so very much. I'm complete.
Any other questions? No? Okay. And now we'll go to public comment and support. Do we have any public comment and support?
Let's see, no hands are raised online. Oh, I do see one hand raised online right now. Caller with the phone number ending in 5748. Don't know where this is leaning, but they do have a hand up. So caller, when you are ready, please press *6 to unmute.
Please.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. With regard to some of the different questions and stipulations that the commission or some of the commission are requesting or asking with regard to this applicant and his business. Going back to the one about the drop off and pick up, if you put a stipulation for his business there, whether it's within 6 months or a year review or what have you, wouldn't you and can't you automatically do the same for what's going on at the business at Trader Joe's or the other martial arts studio across town in on San Pablo Avenue? For all of those types of heavily trafficked businesses, you shouldn't just pick on him, number one, per se, and I don't know what they can do. Maybe they can limit it to a drop off and pick up within 2 to 3 minutes, not have people like at Trader Joe's. I've been there numerous times, and all of a sudden you're down to 1 lane or half a lane, or you can't even get by or get the traffic moving, and people think they have the right to sit there for 5, 10, and 15 minutes while they wait for their child to come out, unload and load and pick up. And then number 2, does this kind of business, are they self-insured? So if somebody has a trip and fall accident in the place of business or at their front door, one of their students or their parents, will the liability be on the landlord, the business owner, and or the city of Pinole? And can they do something about the landscaping there, that you can get the landlord to kind of clean up the landscaping in that front area, because it looks like hell, and we're really lucky to have somebody like this gentleman offer his time and business to come into Pinole and leave Hercules. Usually it's the other way around. Hercules gets all the new big businesses and storefronts, etc., because of maybe the way they run their city. But you know, we really need to do something with that property, not saying re-landscape the whole thing, but at least the frontage of those half a dozen shops there, so it can look half attractive for someone else to move in next door, get another tenant or someone to come in the future. But that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your comment. Do we have any additional public comment?
There are no additional hands raised at this time.
You can feel free to answer those questions if you'd like.
Oh, gotcha. I appreciate the concern, and then the thank you for being part of Pinole, or trying to get the business into Pinole. It is a great place. I grew up around the area, San Pablo, Richmond, so I know Hercules, Rodeo. Oh, we live in Rodeo currently. So I've seen, but I saw when Safeway was there, when it wasn't there, and Long Strugs wasn't there. Like it happens. As for the space, I'll make sure, because child safety, my student safety, is the most important part for the school itself. Part of the reason why I'm limiting the number of students that are per class. And so I'll make sure, even if you don't write it down or put it in the written language, I'll make sure, like, parents, like, parks, keep your kids safe. That's all it is. And so I'll make sure that's there regardless of what happens, which way. And there might have been a second comment or concern about that. I can't remember off the top.
Insurance.
Oh, insurance. That's it. Thank you. Yeah, I have my own insurance. Landlord has his insurance. Depending on the situation, of course, we'll see whose insurance pays for what. I also have a general disclaimer that all the students sign. I'm like, hey guys, you're joining martial arts. Someone's gonna get hit. So please understand, if you can't do that, I'm like, then this isn't the school for you. Not saying we're all going full contact or anything. This is traditional karate. We practice our control. This isn't UFC or anything like that. So I wanted to make sure that was clear.
If I may, through the chair.
Yes, of course.
And his, the last concern, which doesn't really apply to you, I think the question was more directed for staff, and that was the landscaping concern.
Yeah, we'll be talking to the property owner. In this case, though, it's not the AP80 center. This is the other property owner, so we'd have to talk to that property owner Because I know there's a bunch of cross-access agreements, and they had some agreements or have some agreements that we would have to talk to them about. So we can talk to the property owner and let them know that, hey, you got to clean this up, and to the property owner who owns the AP and AD Center as well. So to clean, at least do the front. I mean, if they're not going to do a whole landscape plan, at least there's some landscaping that they can replace and shore up and that kind of stuff. So we'll get on that regarding that.
Thank you, Planning Manager Hannah.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right. With that, we'll close the public hearing and go to comments from the commission. I'll start to my right with Commissioner Bender.
I have no comment.
Commissioner Martinez.
I just want to say thank you for bringing this business to Pinole. We're excited to see new businesses come. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that thought.
For bringing that into us. We look forward to it.
Commissioner Lamb-Julian.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking about this. I live right around the corner, so super jazzed. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Huey.
Congratulations on your expansion. It's a really big deal, and we're really glad that you chose Pinole to do that. My brother participates in the martial arts as well. He has his black belt. My godson does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've seen the benefit that martial arts has had for our young scholars, and I'm very excited to have this opportunity here in Pinole.
Thank you.
Commissioner Menace.
I'll echo my fellow commissioners in thanking you for bringing your martial arts studio to Pinole, especially in let's say, less developed shopping center that could definitely use having new businesses there and revitalizing the area. So we definitely appreciate that, I think, as a commission. Thank you.
Vice Chair Uch.
No comments.
All right, and thank you for choosing Pinole. As some of the public commenters have mentioned, usually it is the opposite way. Sometimes business does go to Hercules, so thank you for coming to Pinole, and we wish you the best of luck, and please let us know if there's anything that we could do to be supportive.
Thank you, and I appreciate all you guys' time and effort, and all the effort that Justin put into answering all my questions, even if I repeated it just to make sure I had, for the application fees and all that. Well, thank you very much, guys.
All right, and with that, I will make a motion to approve Planning Commission Resolution 26-07 with Exhibit A, conditions of approval.
I'll second the motion.
You have a motion and a second.
Before we make the motion, I believe that Commissioner Martinez wanted to make an amendment to the conditions of approval.
I believe that was already noted. Is that correct?
Yes, that was, well, technically no. That's a good catch.
Okay.
Technically is correct.
Okay. So, then for condition number 7, we're adding the stipulation to review after 1 year to see if there's any complaints regarding the pickup and drop off. And if we clear the year hurdle, then it would extend to reviewing their CUP on a 3 or a 5 year term regarding item number 7, clear path management. So if we can just add that amendment to that, I would appreciate it. And then I think I would defer to Commissioner Lamb-Julian on her concerns regarding the noise levels. If you still wanted to add that, now might be a good time as well.
My amendment would be to number 4 about the site maintenance. I can't remember the exact verbiage, but I know we've used it before with similar where there's a quick service food next to.
Okay, regarding regular maintenance of trash bins outside
Correct.
the establishment.
Right.
Okay.
And then I'll pass it on to Commissioner Huey.
I don't think it was an amendment. It was more of me just posing the question because I know how important it is to have music during these sessions, especially when they're doing warm up and warm down. So I just wanted clarification around the parameters so that the applicant was aware, but was not an actual amendment.
Any other clarifications to the motion? Okay. With that, I will make a motion to approve Planning Commission Resolution 2607 with Exhibit A, the conditions of approval, with modifications to condition number 4 to include regular maintenance of trash, and a change to condition 7 to review the CUP after 1 year.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Planning Manager Hannum, could we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Huey,
Yes.
Commissioner Menes,
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb Julian,
Yes.
Commissioner Bender,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uch,
Yes.
Chair Sandoval.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Yeah, so the item passed 7-0. And just as a note, if any person would like to appeal the action of the Planning Commission, they will have to do so in writing to the city clerk within 10 days. Following the hearing, the city council may act to confirm, modify, or reverse the action of the planning manager, the costs, or the commission. The cost to appeal the decision is $500 with a minimum $2,500 deposit fee. Please note, if you challenge a decision of the commission regarding a project in court, you would be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing or in writing delivered to the city at Pinole at or prior to the public hearing. All right. And with that, we will go over to our old business. Item H1, and this is the Select Planning Commission Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Planning Manager Hannum, do we have a presentation or information on this item?
Man, sorry about that. I've got a quick little memo. At our last meeting. There we go. At our last meeting, we selected our chair, vice chair, and ad hoc committee as part of our reorganization process that we do every year. And as part of the Planning Commission Ad Hoc Committee, we selected 2 members. One member chose not to re-up, and so we need to add another member to the body. So for those that were here, Commissioner Menes and Vice Chair Uch were appointed back to the Ad Hoc Committee, and so now we are looking for one more person to be selected. And so staff is recommending that the Planning Commission select a 3rd person for the Ad Hoc Committee.
Thank you, Plan Manager Hannum. Is there any interest? We have a full commission. Is there any interest in serving in the ad hoc committee?
Just, and if I might add, before everybody chickens out, after these, there's probably only about one more set of ad hoc meetings with the odds and the outdoor dining. Those were probably the last 2, and those will be wrapping up here fairly shortly. So, I mean, right now we don't have anything on the agendas that would be coming to the ad hoc committee at this point for a while, unless there's some major policy stuff that the council or the commission would want you to review. So, just to give you an idea, right now there's really not a whole lot there. So, so it's not like it was in the beginning where when ad hoc was reviewing the odds and the thing every week or every other week pretty regularly. We're past that now. And right now we don't, at least at this point, there's nothing else on the layer, but we do need that 3rd person in case we need to convene the ad hoc subcommittee, design committee.
Commissioner Menes.
Yes, so I have a question about that actually, because I remember in the past we were discussing the composition of the ad hoc subcommittee, but it was potentially an issue depending on who could hear what, because technically speaking, 3 members out of the 7 on the commission have reviewed the odds and the outdoor dining resolution. So if we have another person reviewing it, that would take it over the Brown Act limit, I thought.
I thank you for reminding me about that. The odds and the outdoor dining, the next step is to the commission. It's not coming back to the ad hoc committee. I forgot to tell you that. It's not coming back to the ad hoc committee. You guys have done all your work. Now we just make the changes and we bring it back to the commission. So, yeah. So that we won't have that problem. If we did have that problem, the 3rd person who would be selected would not be invited to that meeting, only the two that were on the committee at that point, so that we don't have that issue with the Brown Act. So, but at this point, I don't see it coming back to the ad hoc committee, those two items.
And the reason why I brought that up was that a lot of the points you were bringing up about the things the ad hoc committee is going to need to do in the near future were related to those items. So without those items, it's nothing really that the ad hoc committee has planned in the near future, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's some, in most cases, we use ad hoc committee for, major document stuff like odds or outdoor dining or major policy changes, or if there's major general plan amendments or rezones or comprehensive design reviews that probably need, similar to what we did with all of the apartment complexes and Pinole Shores 2 building. So we did, but that was only like one, maybe two meetings at that point. So that would be the only reason we would come back. And right now we're not at a point where we're not really bringing anything back at this point. And there's nothing on the horizon, at least right now, at least for the current. I can be pretty accurate, at least for the next 6 months, easy. I don't think we're going to have anything that would be, unless it's just something out of the blue. And so, I mean, you're looking at probably maybe 2 to 3 meetings a year, at least at this point. At least for this next year.
Any takers?
How far in advance is the committee notified of the meeting dates?
In most cases, yeah. In most cases, in most cases, I try to tell you at the planning commission, like I've done before in the past. I have done at the planning commission, announced, hey, we're probably going to have a planning subcommittee meeting here in the next couple of weeks. Usually, we like to get the notice out that we're having a meeting within a week or two of the meeting. If there needs more time, we can add more time into it. If you need 3 weeks, if we know it's going to happen, and what we need to do.
So weeks ahead, not months ahead.
Not months in advance. I mean, what I've thought about doing is meeting maybe once a quarter, if we have items that we pick a date during the quarter that we meet. Because the other thing about the ad hoc committee is it's very specific in that you're only working on one item at a time. It's not like a standing committee, so it's not agendized. It's not, we're not making a standing committee. So I have to be very careful of when I schedule meetings and when I don't, so I don't run into that. Because we were getting comments regarding the ad hoc meeting. We were meeting almost weekly for a while there, almost every other week in the beginning of that. And I was told that we're kind of turning into a standing committee, and we didn't want to do that. So it's just an ad hoc. It's really a come together of when we need you at this point, and it's because we don't really have any big policy documents to do at this point. So don't be afraid.
Well, if no one on the commission is interested, I'll do it.
Gabe, I guess I can nominate myself because initially it was a lot when I was really, really, really sick. But I think if it's not as intense as it once was,
Yeah.
I could probably do it and free you up since you're already the chair of this.
Okay.
Well, and just to say, I mean, yeah, the odds and the normally the odds and the both outdoor dining product would have been done by outside consultants, but due to staff, due to money wise, we weren't able to contract that out. So staff took that on as a major policy document. Even before that, when Commissioner Martinez was on there, when you were on it, we weren't meeting that often just for these development projects. So which was maybe once or twice. No more than that. So to get input from the committee. So it's just going to give you an idea about that.
Okay. I'd be happy to represent us.
Okay. We'll make a motion to nominate Commissioner Martinez to the ad hoc committee.
I second.
All right. We have a first and a second. Can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Huey?
Yes.
Commissioner Menes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lamb-Julian?
Yes.
Commissioner Bender?
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Uch,
Yes.
Chair Sandoval.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, thank you. And then we have our second item of old business, consideration of adding another citizens to be heard agenda item. Do we have a presentation on item H2?
Yeah, I have a brief, just kind of a brief staff report on this item. As the commission is aware, the city council adopted this method probably, I don't know, it's probably been now about 4 or 5 months now, where they added a second citizens to be heard at the end of their agenda, due to the fact that there would be some people that wouldn't be able to meet the first one because either they weren't home from dinner yet or they weren't home from work or being able to do that. And so they established that citizens to be heard, that second citizens to be heard. Well, as a commission, as that was happening, the commission again wanted to discuss that, to have it at our meetings, because again, same thing. If people aren't online or at the beginning of the meeting, that maybe they have a chance at the end of the meeting to speak about items to be heard. It's basically, this item would be again similar to the first items or the first public comment, in that it's only comments within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission that's not otherwise listed on the agenda. It's a one-time thing. So if somebody talked in the beginning of it, they don't get a second chance at the second citizens to be heard. And so what we would, and each speaker would be provided 5 minutes, and that's similar to what we do with the first one. After looking at where we would place it in the agenda as part of the background, we would probably put it somewhere in the neighborhood of the city planners, commissioners report, or communications section of the agenda. What would happen is that staff, they're basically, we've listed some possible ideas as a preliminary considerations to initiate discussion, that there'd be no change, or adding another citizens to be heard, or to modify the agenda, consolidating the city planners, commissioners report, and communications in one section. Or we kind of, if they would give us, if the planning commission would give us the ability to kind of change things around a little bit in that bottom section of items, we would slot that second citizens to be heard probably after the communications section of where it is. And then following that, staff will confirm, once we receive direction from the Planning Commission, I'll be confirm that proposed changes are acceptable to the city clerk's office. So I'll be working with them to make sure that would be okay. I wanted to wait until the commission ruled on the item before I took it to the city clerk. And so, because if it's something that you want, I want to make sure that you guys vote on that now, and then we'll bring it. If there is an issue, we will bring it back. If not, you'll see it on the next agenda. You'll see the item placed on the agenda. So that's all staff has for the presentation. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission consider and discuss the inclusion of a second citizens to be heard item on the Planning Commission agenda, and provide direction to staff to modify the agenda. So with that ends my presentation.
Thank you, Plan Manager Hannum. And now for questions from the commission to staff. Commissioner Martinez, your questions.
Thank you, Chair. I do have some questions on this. Sorry, I took some notes here. Just need to find them. Okay, so on this, staff, is it possible, I guess I'm just a little wondering if this is really needed, because we usually only have maybe 1 or 2 callers, but perhaps it's because folks, as you mentioned, are coming in late. What I would propose is that we run a 6-month pilot and see, do we even have any takers? Because it seems extra work that we're adding to staff and even to us to include it if we don't have anybody that's going to use it. So I would say maybe we should try it. I did have some concern with making sure that we do have the ability to allow somebody that spoke at the first one to not speak at the second one. And then I would also ask that if we are going to do this, that as an example, if somebody came in and spoke earlier, that they would not be allowed to call in toward the latter session, that it's kind of that one and done. Either they choose the first session or the second one, but can't repeat it. So those would be the ideas that I have for testing this to see if it's working or even used. And if we determine that we don't have any takers, then maybe we don't need it, would be my suggestions. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Lam Julian.
I have had several community members actually question adding a second public comment period, to where working families, folks, or just working folks having a 9 to 5 or even a later swing shift, to where it is challenging for them, or if they have little humans that they're taking care of, to be able to make public comment and creating this opportunity for them to speak and ask questions and engage with the commission and be able to have clarification on what's happening in our community, I think is really important. I would like to understand more why we would then only allow folks to speak once. I do understand sometimes some people take advantage of it, but for a lot of folks out there that are just learning about making public comment and being aware of this commission and city council in general, they're trying their best to learn, and I think that we should create more opportunities for the community to participate with this commission and just governance in general. So I'm not really sure why would we just not allow a person to make it another comment in the second phase. And I do think that 6 months is rather short, knowing how city works. It's slow because it's more work for staff and what have you. By the time that we have it in place with the city clerk and documentation, getting that out to the community so that they're aware that this is a new change, to maybe extending it to a year, or just have it up for a conversation with the rest of the commissioners to go ahead and change their mind on that, and just to see where it goes. Because if it's going to be slow, that we have less projects coming up, our meetings are probably going to be shorter. But just that would be my comment of just maybe extending it beyond the 6 months and letting people speak more than once. I'm complete.
Commissioner Huey.
Yes, thank you, Chair. A question for staff. Do we have it on record, or do we have a count of how many times a member of the public has requested to have more speaking time, specifically with the Planning Commission?
Well, we haven't had anything in direct meaning, but there are people that have gone over the 5 minutes that that has either pertained or not pertained to Planning Commission business. But no, we haven't. Other than that, we haven't had any complaints, or at least hey, we're not getting our comments in. And this isn't for projects that are on the agenda themselves. These are just general comment. I want to make that clear. It's just general comments or comments that aren't on items that are on the agenda. Because there are some Brown Act rules regarding that as well. Because that'd be opening and closing public hearings and all that, and that doesn't work. So in terms of that question, we haven't really had a demand for it. But I think it was just something that came up. The council was doing it. I don't know. There are some members of the public that have taken advantage, I think, of the second item, items open to the public. So it was something that the Planning Commission wanted to take a look at. So.
Thank you. And then my second question is, do we have a comparison or a study that shows if other planning commissions in our region also has a second comment period?
None of the planning commissions at this point have two comment periods open to the public.
Thank you.
Commissioner Menace.
That actually just raised a new question for me. When you say people have taken advantage of the second comment period at the city council meetings, how do you mean that? Because you're only allowed to comment at one or the other.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, all I'm saying is that it gives, it has worked where people haven't been able to talk at the first portion and they're able to talk at the second one. So that's what I mean by that. Yeah, not that someone's taken advantage of two. And yeah, that's the other reason why for the one comment is because we're following what the council does as part of we're being consistent with how they propose that. That's the reason why we're suggesting only one. You get to speak at one or the other, not both.
Okay, so I have a few comments, but no more questions, so I'll conclude there.
Commissioner Bender.
No questions.
Vice Chair Edge.
No questions.
All right. Do we have any public comment on this? Oh, sorry. Questions for myself. Just clarifying that if the commission just decided to move forward with this, an individual would only be able to speak once, correct?
Right.
And the commission.
Well, if the commission decides that'd be something that the commission decides. What I'm going to do is, if the commission, I am going to be speaking to City Clerk Bell about this and to make sure. But if you were to recommend that someone would be able to speak at both, then I would clarify with her if that's allowed, if that's allowable.
Okay, and then that's more of a comment. I'll save that for later.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff? Nope. All right. Do we have any public comment on this item?
Yes, we do from the caller with phone number ending in 5748. So please press *6 to unmute whenever you're ready.
Yes, my name's Anthony Vosbrink, and I guess I would like to echo all the different commissioners' comments. I think they all made some points in favor of or having certain time frames with regard to a test. I guess I would be open to a 9-month to a 12-month test, but I think in light of everything else that's been going on within the city of Pinole, politically and otherwise, financially, and with the latest negative grand jury report the city of Pinole got with a letter F, they should open more lines of communication between the public via town hall meetings or any other discussions relating to the planning commission or somewhat to that effect, because there might come a point, if not today, we might have to consider selling off some of our properties in the city of Pinole and things like that, and that would be maybe a separate agendized item. So, but people aren't familiar with the system, what's on the agenda, what's not. For example, this evening, we never got the notice of the meeting, but 15 minutes or 10 minutes before on the television channels, all three of them or two of them, that you were going to have a meeting for up until 10 minutes to 7. Did they put the music on with the meeting date and time, start of the meeting to announce the general public? We had to watch other shorts of Pinole TV and everything for the better part of the day, or the public did. So you need to look at the big picture with that. We got a new city manager. There's a lot of other things that the public may want to question, and they can't wait for another council meeting or another planning commission meeting that half the time the members either don't show up or the meetings are canceled. So you may not have a meeting every 2 weeks or once a month. It may be every other month, and that's been the case. And then lastly, I would like to say that at least maybe you can cut it down to 4 minutes instead of 5 minutes, but to give the public an opportunity to at least complete their thought within 1 or 2 sentences, within 20 to 30 seconds after they're being cut off, and not dismiss them and rudely, chop up half of their sentence or statement just because they hit the 4 or 5 minute allotment period. But I think those things can be considered before you take action on whichever way you decide to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have any other public comment?
There are no other hands raised at this time.
Okay. I will bring it back to the Commission for comments. Commissioner Bender.
Yes. I think it would be appropriate to add the second period for citizens to be heard for general comments. I do think it should be limited to you speak at one or the other. And I'm not sure I understand a test period, because to me, it's the way I look at it, it's either you do it or you don't. And I think it makes sense to follow with what the City Council is doing. That's all I have to say.
Commissioner Martinez.
Thank you, Chair. I also want to point out and thank Commissioner Lamb-Julian, which is really a big proponent for improving communication from Planning Commission to the community, because most of them do not even know what we do up here. This has been one of the key things where she's been trying, from what I can remember, over a year, saying, can we have a booth? Can we get out in the park and just talk to folks about what we do so that they're aware? So thank you for being a big proponent. I appreciate it, and I'm sure the community does. I guess I could agree to go along with the group if we want to add the second one and maybe not do it as a pilot, but more we're falling in compliance with what City Council's doing. And great if people use it, wonderful. If they don't, well, I guess, it'll show itself and it'll just become another item that we work through. But in regard to the caller's concerns, the goal of improving communication with the city is critical. If we're coming in at an F, that means we're not doing our job well enough. And if this is one more tool in our tool chest to use to get the community to engage with us, I think it's a good thing. So I could definitely go along with this. And instead of it being a pilot, just make it that we're falling in line and being in compliance with the way it's handled from City Council. Now, to your point, Planning Manager Hannum, about making the insurance that somebody speaks once, there may be some requirement or some legal thing that we're not aware of. So if we could maybe just check into that, and if there's a legal reason why we're only able to either let them speak at one or the other, then, we just need to be compliant with whatever that is. So at this point, I think I could go along with what everybody's asking for, which would be, why even bother piloting it? Let's just add it, and it just becomes part of what we do. Those are my thoughts.
Commissioner Lamb-Julian.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Martinez, for your lovely comments. Yeah, it really do. It makes sense to go ahead and follow suit with council if that's what we're doing. And if we need to drop down from 5 minutes to 3 minutes, that makes sense. And agreeable to where if you don't talk at one, you can talk at the other and not in both. I can see how that can get us in a pickle. And then getting clarification from the city clerk with that. But I think it's a good idea. Thanks.
Commissioner Huey.
Thank you. I felt very strongly about this when we talked about it back in, what was it, April, for the reasons that Commissioner Lam Julian had brought up. There are a lot of families out there who just can't make it, even though we start later, there are a lot of families out there that can't make it up here until maybe like 8 or 9. And I'm sympathetic also to staff who have to staff these commissions, because I have once sat on the other side, being here until 9, 10, 11, sometimes 12, plus the commute back home. It can be very hard. And so if we were to add the second comment period, which I am in favor of, I would like for it to be, if you speak at one, you cannot speak at the other, just for the sake of respecting everyone's time. With that being said, I also think that it just opens up lines of communication and transparency, which is very important, especially in this climate. I'm glad to see the city council doing it. I'm surprised to hear that there's not other planning commissions in the region that are doing the same. My father used to say, and I'm going to butcher it, but you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink water. I think we, as a commission, should be able to provide the water. If someone wants to speak at a later time, they should be able to have the ability to do so. And I'm complete. Thank you.
Commissioner Menace.
So, a few points here. First, I think that having multiple citizens to be heard would be a good idea. I think I've said as much in the past, and that continues to be my opinion. I also think that in response to a caller's comment of maybe it would be a good idea to have a shorter time period, but give a bit more of space for people to finish up, I'm not sure how that could be done without inviting accusations of favoritism, frankly, saying, oh, you're only giving 20 seconds to this person, but not that person. I'd rather have it just remain a flat 5 minutes, honestly. And speaking as somebody who moderately frequently uses the second city council citizens to be heard, if there's nobody using that item, it just passes through in seconds. It's literally just the cost of the ink to put it on the agenda and the 2 or 3 seconds for the chair to bring it up. It's about as minimal a burden on staff and the commission as it gets if nobody actually wants to use it. And if people do want to use it, as my fellow commissioners have been noting, it's improving lines of communication between the commission and the city that we serve, and I think that's a benefit. Thank you.
Vice Chair Utch.
I would say, with a lot of my fellow commissioners, I do share the opinion that I think it is important to expand the access for people to be able to communicate, because, to put it plainly, especially in this country where a lot of people, for good reason, don't really have faith in our institutions, I think it's important for the people, especially in our city, to have an opportunity to be able to speak on matters that affect us all. Because, there are some people who don't work, who have more, you could say, odd hours of not being able to show up at 7. Some people may get off at 8 or sometime later during our meetings. And I think it's important to account for that, because, for many people, it's a matter of big part's time and access. So I do support that. In this case, what I'm guessing a lot of us share is having a second citizen be heard placed during, communications, I think is an appropriate spot, just like how, at least for citizens to be heard, roughly at the beginning of the meeting, and for citizens to be heard at the end of the meeting. I think that's fair and appropriate. But also, I think makes sense to, in my opinion, to restrict it to, at least if you are a person who already spoke at the first, let's say first citizen to be heard, that's you already used your chance. Because to me, I see it as a way to ensure that people who weren't able to show up to the first instance to be heard could more easily have a chance to be able to speak, I would say. So that's kind of my thoughts on the citizens to be heard.
Thank you, Vice Chair Utch. I have some conflicting thoughts about this. I part of me thinks that it's not necessarily necessary, but I also understand that, we kind of want to be more open, especially in terms of government, especially when some people are questioning what our city is doing. So I can definitely understand being more accessible. The particular concern that I kind of have was that it kind of feels like sometimes the public may use the planning manager's report as a second citizens to be heard. I've kind of felt like we've kind of been doing that for at least the time that that I've been here. But I would be supportive of changing it if we mirror what city council does. So allowing someone only to speak once and then cutting it down to 3 minutes. Any other comments? Okay. And then, so in terms of what the actual change would look like, is there a particular feeling as to option B or option C? Because they're a little bit slightly different. Yes. Commissioner Menace.
Personally, I would favor option B, just because some of the choices in option C look like they're combining communications and citizens to be heard, and those are two different things. One of them is the commissioner speaking, one of them is the public speaking, and those should be two separate things in my opinion.
Chair.
Yes.
I actually agree with Commissioner Menace's statement. I
Okay. Is there a consensus? Okay, then I will make is there an actual, there's no resolution. In this case, it would just be to make a motion to add another citizens to be heard item after the communication section.
Yes, I would like for the record on your motion to make sure you make it clear. The other thing that I'm going to add is that the portion where under the first one where it says the public may address the planning commission, that will need to be addressed after the second one as well. So I just want to make sure that you include that as part of the.
Yes, I can restate my motion.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion to add a second citizens to be heard item after the communication section, and that an individual may only speak on one or the other, and that the time be 3 minutes.
For both or just for the second
For
one?
both.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Can we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Huey.
Yes.
Commissioner Menace.
Are we permitted to offer amendments to the motion, or are we just voting on the motion at this point?
Since there hasn't been a total vote on the motion, you can make an amendment if the person who made the motion and the person who seconds agrees with your amendment.
All right. I'd like to suggest 4 minutes rather than 3. Especially if we're changing the time for both of the citizens to be heard.
I second.
I'll agree. I'll agree with
Okay,
that.
I'll agree as well.
Okay, so
And-
we have a second to the amendment from Andrew. We've got the motion person said okay, and the second said okay. Okay.
Yes.
So now it's changed to the time is 4 minutes.
Then yes.
Any other questions? No? Commissioner Huey.
Yes.
Commissioner Menace.
Yes.
Commissioner Lam Julian.
Yes.
Commissioner Bender.
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez.
Yes.
Vice Chair Uch.
Yes.
Chair Sandoval.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0 to move to add an additional citizens to be heard after the communication section of the agenda, and changing the amount of time to 4 minutes for each section.
All right, and thank you. With that moves us to new business, which we have none. And then item J, our city planners report. Plan Manager Hannum, do you have anything to report?
Nothing exciting. Nothing exciting at this point. Yeah, everything's pretty much moving forward. I'll comment on one item, I guess. Probably your August 10th meeting, you will have the extension for Pinole Shores 2. So that'll be the extension of the entitlements. So that'll be coming to you on the August 10th meeting. And then that's all I have, unless you have any questions on anything that's going on. That's all I have tonight. Justin, do you have anything?
I did want to note that we have a new interactive zoning map on the Planning Division webpage. So for owners that are interested in what they could do on their properties or new businesses coming in, new development, there's a map where you could select your parcel in the city or search the address and then find the link to the zoning code for your specific section or a specific plan chapter, whatever that might be, to help people understand, what the development parameters are or like what new businesses or uses could go into a particular property. So I just want to note that as a resource for the public.
Very cool.
This is for staff. I thought Valor Village was like done with everything, that they built it out and they were taking applicants, but I just was notified that they just started taking applicants.
No, they've had
They're looking for.
No, they've had tenants in the building for probably 6 to 8 months now. They could be that they have open units, and so they're advertising for open units. That could be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've had people in there for at least almost, I'd say, 8 months to a year now, getting close. Yeah.
No, that's what I thought, and it's just like now seeking applicants.
Yeah, that's probably because they have units that are available.
Okay.
Yeah.
And nothing about Safeway.
Nope, nothing about Safeway.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Menace.
Yes, just a quick follow-up on the K-BART site. Anything else happen there besides the demolition?
At this point, no, we haven't heard anything. Just to let the commission know, their entitlements run out in October of this year. So depending on, they need to get a building permit or building plans into the city fairly quickly if they want to get a permit before October. But we're working with them and seeing what happens next. So.
Any other questions? Nope. Any public comment?
No hands raised at this moment.
All right, and then we will go to our commissioners report. Any commissioners would like to report on anything? Okay, and then we'll go move on to communications. Any commissioners have communications? Yes, Commissioner Menace.
Yes, so as usual, I'd like to read out the various events that I mentioned to my email list so the public can be informed as well. So today there was a general produce distribution at 9 and the Planning Commission meeting you're listening to now. Tomorrow there's going to be the senior food distribution from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Senior Center. On Thursday the 16th, there's going to be a police sort of chat and have food with the police over at Menchie's from noon to 2 p.m. And there's going to be a wastewater subcommittee meeting from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., hybrid format as usual. And then this Saturday, 7/18, there's going to be another Pinole Creek cleanup from 10 a.m. to noon behind Pinole Valley High School, parking at 2885 Pinole Valley Road.
Thank you. Any other communications? Any public comment?
I do see a hand raised for now. So it's the caller ending with a phone number ending in 5748. So caller, when you're ready, please press *6 to unmute.
Please go ahead whenever you're ready.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I just had to backtrack to the commissioner's planning manager's report about the 7-Eleven property behind 7-Eleven and that strip mall, the donut shop. Is there anything going on there, as well as also with the sale of the Faria House and any other properties for sale or pending? And is there a listing on a city website that lists all the different vacant properties that will be considered for sale or lease or what have you? and also there's a real strong rumor going around town from reputable sources that the Uptown Yard business is doing so well, they need to and want to expand and put in an offer with another joint tenant or partner for the part of or all of the Pinole City corner over there. And we wonder if any offers or interest has been expressed for that corner, specifically from the lady Raquel at Uptown Yard. And one of the rumors was that she was going to use or get somebody from the car show club to help get on board with her, because the city is canceling out the car show like the fireworks for budgetary reasons moving forward. And I think it's a bad mistake for them to cancel the car show for all the business they get. And to correct Mr. Henham's statement, his last statement with regard to the last measure, appreciate his homework there. But whether it was misinformation, disinformation, or an accident, it wasn't just 4 or 5 months ago that the city council implemented the 2 public comment protocol or program. It was more like 3 or 4 years ago, and I was an active participant in getting that approved, aside from what Devin Murphy might say or think. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Planning Manager Henham, is there anything that you'd like to respond?
In terms of the BCRE project, that's the one he's referring to. We haven't had any comment or any relation with the property owner. We know that he had a project in another part of the county that he was working on. I don't know if, and there was to be finished and then worked on this property. So that's something that we've been trying to follow up on with regarding that. In terms of the Uptown Yard, we haven't heard of anything of Raquel buying the property next door, wanting to put in an offer in. I think, I'm not positive, I'd have to check, but the properties that for sale might be on the website under the economic development page of the community development department, but I'm not positive on that. Or it could be under the city manager page, or if they are listed. The Faria House, as far as I know right now, there's been a little bit of interest, but I don't know if there's a confirmed offer on that property. That's something that would need to be answered by the city council or the city manager. But yeah, as far as the Uptown Yard property, we haven't heard anything about that, and they are having some pretty good success with the business that they have there right now, the flower place, and some of the events I think they're having this summer I think have gone fairly well. So yeah, and I haven't heard any complaints about them or anything. So that's a good thing. So, but yeah, so that's, unless did I miss anything? I think I got them all. Safeway, yeah. So.
All right, and do we have any other public comment?
No other hands raised at this time.
Right. Any other communications? No. All right. And with that, our next Planning Commission meeting is on July 27th at 7 p.m. And with that, we'll be adjourned at 8:38 p.m.